Hello, Shiloh family and friends of Shiloh. This week is the final week of our fundraising drive. It's the last week of April. We took this month as an opportunity to focus our efforts on giving into God's work and building up Shiloh for the future. The needs connected to Shiloh are great, and the vision for our church is big. There is much work that Shiloh is called to do, and every one of us has the opportunity to take up a special role in that work. If you've already given, thank you. But if you have not yet given, or you wish to give again, you have 1 week left to participate in this special opportunity. Our senior pastor, Pastor Joel, is praying emphatically, has been praying emphatically for those who would give in this special time. And we'd love to hear from you how God has answered these prayers in your own life. Today, we'll hear a testimony from one of our sisters on how God has turned her obedience with her finances into blessings.
Hello, Shiloh family. It's giving season, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the things I've learned about giving here at Shiloh and how God has used those lessons to bless me, in the hopes that it would encourage you in your own journey as you learn what God says about giving and what blessings He has for us when we give. So I came to Ottawa actually in July of 2017. I remember kind of visiting Shiloh casually, really up until the next year in 2018. I had just started a job in Ottawa. It was my first serious job after graduating college. And I had just started learning about tithing. I had really gotten into the habit of tithing and making sure that I gave 10% of my income to God. And I had seen God move in just fantastic ways. In fact, the job that I got in Ottawa, I didn't apply for. I just, someone reached out to me via LinkedIn and I got the job, which is a story in and of itself. But I remember coming to Shiloh and up until that point, all I knew about giving was tithing, and I had seen God move. So I was really, very serious about doing that, because I had just, it was so interesting to me how God really did rebuke the devourer for my sake, and how He really did just open doors for me. That job was really like one of the examples where God just showed up and showed out. But I remember very early on sitting under one of Pastor's sermons, and he's talking about how God wants us to tithe, yes, but He also wants us to give an offering, and He wants us to be good stewards of the resources that He has given to us. I remember him talking about how the tithes are for protection. I will rebuke you, devourer, for my sake, and how the offering is tied to abundance and prosperity, like how God says, give and it will be giving unto you, good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, and how it was so important to God that we stewarded the things that He gave us properly, and I had never heard that before. To my mind, I give 10%, and God and I were cool. But having come from a place where really I didn't have any money, and I just felt at the mercy of everybody else, being able to be financially free was so important to me. It was important to me that even though I was kind of like, I don't know, I tried it. I said, okay, if abundance and prosperity is tied to how generous I am, about my heart and how I give an offering, then I didn't really have anything to lose, and so I really started to take my offering really seriously, as serious as I did my tithe. There was a certain percent every month, and I started to find myself enjoying and looking forward to every time or any time I was called to give, just because I was seeing God moving my life. I was really seeing that abundance. Shortly after I joined the company was not yet public, but I was called into a room 6 months after and was offered some stock options, which at the time made no sense because, well, they weren't public, so what were they worth? But I said thank you. Apparently they didn't give it to anybody or just everybody, but they had called me and given it to me. A couple months later, I was promoted, and over the last, I want to say maybe 4 years, I've been promoted maybe 4 times, to the point where at the beginning of this month, I was promoted again, and I feel myself starting. I find that I'm in a place where I'm actually starting a career, where I'm growing professionally, but really financially, God has almost doubled what I was making when I started. That initial stock option that I was giving, we ended up going public in 2019, and so it was actually worth something, which blew my mind. And very shortly after that, I was offered additional stock options. And when I just got promoted recently, I was offered additional stock options, almost double what I previously owned. And so I just can see God just moving in really just a place of abundance. Like it's not just about paying my bills and being able to pay off debt, which I've been able to do, which you have to understand. It was hard to believe it was possible. I did some of the things I did just because, well, at that point I was just owing everybody. I had $0 and really, what could I lose? But God has showed up so much, and I believe Shiloh to be fertile ground, because of the things I've learned, because of the fruit of the things I've learned in my life. Because when I've heard a thing and applied the thing, God has done what He said He would do, and that makes me so excited. I don't know, giving makes me so excited, just because I guess I just coming from the opposite of that. I'm coming from a place of really, like, I don't know if I'm gonna get kicked out of my, I haven't paid rent in months, or I have no money to go to school, or I don't know how I'm gonna eat tomorrow. I just coming from that, like, one of the greatest joys of my life when I give is looking back after the year and just marveling at how much I've been able to give and how much God has blessed me and how much that amount increases year over year, because it's just it's a testament to God's grace and God's faithfulness. And if I would encourage you, I would just encourage you that God is faithful. I've seen it in my life, and yeah, I've never regretted a red cent I gave to God and to His purposes, and I don't think you will either. You won't. And I hope this encourages you to give, even if it's sacrificial. Take it from me, if you have $0 in your account, like, you have nothing to lose. I pray this blesses you, and I pray that God will reward you, and He will, because He's faithful to His word. I hope you have a good day. Thanks for listening.
God wants to show up and show out through us, but He does not act without first receiving our permission. And one of the ways that we show God that we are ready for Him to act in our finances is by first giving. As Pastor often says when expounding on Matthew 6:33, look for where God is working, get involved. And the rest of the verse says, and He will give you everything you need. Remember, finances is the only area where God Himself tells us to try Him or test Him. So why don't you do like our sister Ada today and put God to the test and see if He doesn't open the storehouses or the windows of heaven and pour out a blessing so great you won't have room enough to take it in. My prayer is that just as we are working together to give and to build up in this ministry at this time, that we will celebrate together in the fruit of this harvest. Don't put off tomorrow what you can do today. Here again are the ways that you can give into this great fundraising initiative. And God bless you in abundance as you do so.